football. No cocktails this weekend. Clear eyes. Joel Klatt on our show on a Wednesday. This is going to be massive.
What's up, man?
Even the second-level games are great.
How you doing? I remember a time when you would just bang on the franchises that hired defensive coaches. Remember that? I remember that, J-Mac. Remember that?
That was years ago.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
They're occasionally.
Apparently now Aaron Rodgers is terrible and Robert Saleh is the savior.
I like D'Amico Ryans. We love that hire.
You think Mike Vrabel's going to fix the Jets?
He's a man.
Oh, okay.
I like those kind of guys.
Okay, so then what does USC need?
They're fine.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
The flight got a little bumpy over Des Moines.
Did it? Did it?
I'll get to that in a second. Okay, first of all, Ohio State, Oregon. So let's go. So Ohio State's got as good a talent as anybody in the country.
Yeah.
Even Texas. Oregon at home. If you've never been out there, you think, it's got 50,000 seats.
No. Loud.
You have no idea. So you're going to be you're going to have multiple penalties with your offense can't hear. Just bake those in. You're going to have 4 or 5 of those. I think Ohio State's better, but I don't know if they're better Saturday.
I think that's fair. In particular, when you go on the road in these like supercharged environments, just think about these big matchups that we saw. Think about the environment in the first half for the Alabama-Georgia game and how that carried, Alabama to that big lead, which then they kind of held on for. The one thing that I think if you're an Ohio State fan, you would take a little bit of backing in is that they're great at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
They owned Iowa at the line of scrimmage. And by the way, that's nothing to sneeze at. Iowa's a top 10 run defense. It's very rare that they give up 200 yards rushing and over 5 yards per carry.
Iowa's always got a good defense.
Oh, man, listen, this guy, he used to bang on defensive coaches. He used to bang on Iowa. Look at
punters, their best offensive player, but their defense is something else.
Oh, my, you flip-flop more than Kamala. Anyways, I will just tell you that this Ohio State offensive line, they can get after it. Okay, I think that it was a question mark coming into the year, but they can run the football over 200 against Iowa, over 5 yards per carry. They've got this backfield that Chip knows how to work with. Yeah. Okay, Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins.
Good backs.
The reason I'm nervous for Oregon is because I've seen, even in that building, which I agree is a really difficult place to play, Colin, we saw Ashton Genty run for 195 yards on that Oregon defense in that building.
Yeah.
So the run game for Ohio State, how do you take a crowd out of it? How do you minimize crowd noise effect? You beat them up physically. And that's, I think, what Ohio State's going to be trying to do, in particular early in that game with a run game and an offensive line that I think is pretty elite.
Okay, so a lot of people are pushing back an old Lincoln Riley, but Brett Venables is facing Texas this weekend.
Yes.
And could be humiliated.
Well, their offense is terrible.
So here's my take. Is Lincoln, because USC is so high profile and because he's a polarizing personality.
After the exit.
Yeah, USC is going to be fine. The offense loses a running back and a center. They return the entire team as freshmen and sophomores on offense, unproven kids. They'll be fine. Oklahoma's in big trouble, and I think Texas has a chance to this could get ugly.
On paper, it could. I mean, I think the number is 14.5, which in this game is a big number because you would always assume that the game is going to be closer than what the teams actually are. I mean, even look at last year. I thought Texas was a much better team. Yeah. Oklahoma wins the game. Oklahoma's actually won 5 of the last 6, I believe. The concern for me is OU offensively is 121st in the country in total offense. 121st. That's not even near requisite enough against a Texas team that's really good on the defensive side, right? They're much better than they were even now, maybe not than defensive tackle, but the secondary is better. Their linebacker core is very good. This Colin Simmons guy, have you seen this guy? He's a true freshman, and he just plays on passing downs. He has like 5 sacks. So he can get after it, and that's a precarious place to be for OU offensively, and they have been a nightmare offensively, by the way, all year. You think back, and they couldn't do anything against Houston. They didn't do anything against Tennessee. They had to have a defensive performance in order to beat Auburn. So, yeah, like Texas is a much better team than Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And they're going to get Ewers back. They can run the football. They've got the best offensive line in college football. They're veteran. They're old. I think it's interesting, Colin, like the last couple of years, you know what's rewarded in college football more than anything? Veteran talent. Not just talent. Used to be you just had to have 5-star kids littered on your roster. That's fine. That's great. Veteran talent. That's what wins. Think about Michigan last year. Think about Washington last year. Think about what Texas is on the offensive line this year. Look at what Ohio State is across their entire roster this year. Veteran talent. That's what Texas has.
You know why I think that is?
Doesn't really have that.
And I think one of the reasons that is the transfer portal is forcing teams to have to constantly rebuild cohesion and chemistry.
That's right.
So if you get a junior, senior team with a lot of like Texas O-linemen that have been together for 3 years.
That's exactly right.
You not only have the talent advantage, you have the chemistry, cohesion, team advantage.
There is no question. What you just said is the most accurate thing that you've said in our segments in years. Well done. Get a shot of that right there. That was really, I'm impressed because it's true. As other teams lose that cohesiveness, chemistry, the margin between the teams that are rebuilding every single year out of the portal, like a Florida State, and the teams that can stick together. Like, look at Clemson is a great example of this. We bang on Dabo all the time.
Yeah, they've righted the ship a little bit.
You betcha they have. And in fact, if you look at what they've done since Georgia, and was that good? No, it wasn't.
That's right.
Their loss to Georgia, it wasn't. But if you look at what they've done, they've grown, they've gotten better, they've developed, and now all of a sudden they've got Garrett Riley as their offensive coordinator and Cade Klubnik. They can run the football, and all of a sudden they're the number 3 scoring offense in all of college football since that loss to Georgia, scoring 48 points per game. But like, who wants to play them? Guess I guarantee you know who doesn't want to play Clemson? Miami.
Let's go back to my brilliant point. Okay, so I will say this. I was saying it this weekend. I'm watching Mahomes Monday night.
Yeah.
And, man, Michael Jordan had this. He just kind of made it look easy. And I like Cam Ward a lot. But I always think he's a tad small. Same height as Shedeur Sanders, and I never think about his height. I watch Cam Ward. And, first of all, Miami's good. I don't think they're great. I don't think they stack up with a couple of the top teams. But they're really good, and he's excellent. As somebody who played quarterback in college, and you do stuff on our draft coverage, I know this is more NFL than college question. I think Cam's an NFL player. But I felt this about Bryce Young, and I kind of feel it with Cam. I'm like, I love this, but I'm not sure it translates. What do you see? The kid's obviously talented. He was slinging it at Pullman. He's slinging it now. I never think of Shedeur Sanders' size. He reminds me a little bit of Mahomes, moving left, right, front, back. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Everything's easy. His accuracy is effortless.
My favorite thing about watching Cam Ward play is that he plays the position unconsciously as far as the results go. Have you ever heard a great golfer talk about like Jack Nicklaus has said, like, I never missed a putt. I never in my mind. You know, I would commit to it, and I would hit the putt. If it went in or not, like, that was beyond what was in my control. But my control was, like, put it on the line that I'm intending and hit a good putt. And I never hit a bad putt. I always hit a good putt. That's what he would say. And it's this idea of, like, removing yourself from the result. So immersing yourself in the process. And that's kind of how I see Cam Ward as he plays, because there's a fearlessness with which he drives the football down the field.
No question.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm speaking of.
Jumps off the TV.
And so for those reasons, I've never really thought about his height. To me, is the ball on time and on target? Yes. Is the arm talent there? Yes. Is he accurate down the field? Yes. Does he have a competitive spirit that allows him to make everybody else around him better? Absolutely. Look at the games that they've just won against Virginia Tech and against Cal. They're down, 25 against Cal. So this idea that his approach and his fearless nature with which he plays the game, almost removed from results. He makes throws, and I'm holding my breath. I'm like, how do you make that throw? And he does it with such conviction. And that's what I love about watching Cam Ward. Now, does that translate? I know you kind of asked more a translation question.
Well, I think he has no self-doubt, and that is very important in the NFL.
It's huge.
But it is funny, as I look and try to guess who's going to be the best quarterback out of college, sometimes I hit, sometimes I don't. Shedeur Sanders, more and more, I'm like, man, in my lifetime when it's just looked easy. You will remember this because you have appreciation for history. Remember Rod Carew?
Yes, vaguely. I'm a little younger than you, but
Anyway, that was a shot. But the point being, Rod Carew made hitting look really easy.
You know, the guy that I think of is like Edgar Martinez and Paul Molitor, like and Griffey. Those were the guys that are like, when I'm watching as a kid, it was just like, well, how could you miss? Like, it just made it look easy.
Mahomes did that. Okay, so let's get to USC. It could have gone either way, and there was a stiff 7-mile-an-hour breeze.
Oh gosh.
But here's
you should have just stopped with the first statement.
Okay, so let me A, defend them, and then B, be critical. A, we had said this. The offensive line is starting redshirt freshmen and sophomores outside of center. They're going to get bullied by some of the upper-class O-lines.
Yeah,
like Michigan was predictable. And I was like, hey, they had a bad half against Michigan. What bothered me here? So I'll pivot to the negativity. Minnesota had more passion. They were more intentional. USC's bad tackling. Their linebackers felt overwhelmed by the running back.
Yeah.
When I watched this game, all of the critics of Lincoln Riley won. Colin, they're too soft. He's all about offense, and I always push back. When Minnesota can punch you in the mouth, I lose the argument and you win the argument. They looked like a West Coast team trying to go to the Midwest and play their style of ball.
Let's remember, though, what Minnesota under P.J. Fleck, what they are. They are trying to be bullies. They're going to get in there, and they want it in a phone booth. They want it in a fist fight. They're the guy that's never going to win a sprint, and they want to grab you by the belt and pull you down to the ground, and they want a grappling match. They want to run the football over 60% of the time under P.J. Fleck. No one in the Big Ten runs the football more. Maybe Iowa does over the last couple of years, but no one runs it more than Minnesota. They try to protect their defense. They are a veteran-laden team. It's a very disciplined team. Like, this is a team that, candidly, is a bad matchup for USC. Now, here's where I'm critical of USC. Is that they've had opportunities to win every single one of their games, and they have not. The turnovers are an issue. 2 against Michigan, 3 against Wisconsin, 3 against Minnesota.
Yes.
That's a major issue, and they're not good enough because of their youth, like you've been talking about, to overcome turnovers. This is not the 2017 Oklahoma Sooners that are going to, rack up 8.5 yards per play. They're not quite there yet on their offensive side. So when they make those mistakes, it's magnified. And what I see is that you've got a missed tackle against Michigan, and you lose the game. Okay, Khalil Mullings breaks the tackle, and he runs and sets him up for the score. And then in this game, it's a fourth quarter interception, and you lose the game. And then there's been these 2 series, and this is what I can't get out of my head. And I've always been a Lincoln Riley defender. I think he's one of the best coaches in America. But there have been 2 offensive series in those 2 games, against Michigan and against Minnesota, where they rolled out there, and you think, okay, here it is.
Go time.
3 and out. And it's like,
with USC's talent and that coach, you can't be 3 and out.
You can't be 3 and out at that moment. And even with that great half of football that they had put together against Michigan in the second half offensively, they go 3 and out. And they threw the ball a few times. And you're like, what is going on? And you know what it reminded me of? Lincoln's first year as a head coach, Rose Bowl, overtime against Georgia.
I remember that.
Baker Mayfield.
I remember that.
They stopped Georgia. Defense was on the field first and stopped Georgia. Held them to a field goal. Baker Mayfield runs onto the field, and you think to yourself, well, this is it. They're going to win the game.
I remember it well.
Their offense is going to win the game.
Yep.
And it's like, wait, what? For whatever reason, there's these moments where Lincoln's offense kind of wilts in the face of what they need most.
Maybe because it leans heavy on clever and not on power.
Yeah, they've got to be able to run the football better. And they're not able to do that with this offensive line.
One of the reasons I like Texas to win the national championship, every college team has lulls. Texas is like, all right, let's just run it behind our 3 first-round NFL guys up front. And it really gets you through. Listen, you take 18-year-olds on the road. They have bad Saturdays.
Of course.
They have terrible habits.
I mean, look at last week. 5 of the top 11 teams in the country lost.
Okay. What usually gets you past that is Saban would do this. Guys, let's run the football. Let's take the crowd out of it. Let's
look
do
at Michigan last year.
That's right.
Michigan ran it 32 straight times against Penn State.
Great O-lines in college. Now, Ohio State's got a little bit of that this year. They're going to go to Oregon. It gets loud. You're like, guys, let's do an 11-play drive and just quiet everybody up.
This USC team, I keep saying, like, these are bad matchups. These are bad. This is a really bad matchup for USC.
Oh,
because
geez.
Penn State wants to run the football. They can run the football. They're one of the best rushing teams in the country with this duo of Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. Their offensive line is playing really cohesive together up front. Andy Kotelnicki, their offensive coordinator, is a really good, creative, solid offensive coordinator. And then guess what their defense does? They get after the passer. In fact, no team in college football has more sacks over the last 3 years than Penn State. And they've got another excellent pass rushing duo in Denai Dennis Sutton on one side. He was a former 5-star. And Abdul Carter, who could be an NFL star, probably a top 5 pick in the draft style player. This is not a great matchup for USC.
All right, let's give Kladarewski's top 10. I don't have any pushback on it.
You don't? Okay.
No, you didn't. One of the things I like that you don't do, you don't sell the farm when somebody loses. Even though Bama lost, they're going to be fine. They're a good team. By the way,
I have Georgia still ahead of Bama, by the way. I have Georgia 3.
It's too early for me to get worked up. Nothing. Okay, I'll say this. I think Tennessee's fine. I think Arkansas can be a snake pit. It happens.
So Tennessee, here's the reason I've got Tennessee 9, and the reason I moved them down to 9 is that now this is twice that their quarterback Nico Iamaleava has played poorly on the road. He did not play great against OU, but their defense was spectacular. They win the game in Norman. And then this week, they've got a 14-3 lead, a quality, competent offense and quarterback that can really get it done. They take over that game, and they stretch the lead. He was unable to do so. They lose at 19-14. He's got to get better of anticipating throws. Most young quarterbacks have to, right? But he holds on to the football too long when you watch the film. He does some things that are exquisite, Colin. I'm telling you, he's going to be a great player down the road.
Tennessee on their best days, when they host Alabama, watch out.
Yeah, because Alabama's defense is a wreck right now. 62 points and 700 yards in the last 6 quarters. And 4 of those quarters were Vandy? Holy cow.
They may have to get rid of Kalen DeBoer.
Those offensive coaches, am I right? Where's Mike Vrabel when you need him? Huh? J-Mac, where's Mike Vrabel?
Vrabel's your kind of guy. You know what he brings to breakfast? A bow and arrow. My kind of guy. That guy is all we...
Man, I have sat here. I've listened to you for too many years. I know you don't like defensive coaches. As soon as it goes poorly or in the postseason, you're going to be like, these defensive coaches, they don't adjust.
I'm not wrong on that all the time. Most of the time, they're rigid.
Which one is it?
But I like Vrabel.
Why?
Because he texts me. No, I'm joking. No, I respect him. I like him. I've liked him forever.
That was so good. What, do you think he's going to go in and set Aaron straight? Like, I don't understand.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Here's the thing that you got to understand about the NFL.
You know what he does?
It doesn't matter who your coach is.
Oh, give me a break. You know what? I'll tell you what.
It matters who your quarterback is. Has Bill Belichick done anything without Tom Brady? No. Has Andy Reid done anything without Patrick Mahomes?
Yes.
Really?
He got to 5 NFC
Which ring did he win, Colin?
Well, he got to a Super Bowl.
And did he win?
Well, you're not going to do that, are you?
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.